Welcome to RPGamer's review of Blade Prince Academy. This review was written by Delander, read by JC Servant, and the video edited by Her Frog. There's always a hope with smaller developers that any game they create can become a surprising gem. Angel Corp's Black Prince Academy looks to become one almost entirely through its unique gameplay. The core combat is quick, snappy, and consistently keeps players on their toes. Unfortunately, the presentation surrounding the game ranges from half-baked to frustratingly passable. In Blade Prince Academy, the player follows the exploits of an Epiphamus Academy students after the school is attacked by a gang of thugs. Believing there to be more behind these thugs, the Blade Princes venture forth to save their captured compatriots and figure out the mystery behind why the school was targeted. This leads to uncovering other enemy factions that largely coincide with each new biome players venture into. Between enemy and player ideologies, the game feels as though it's moving in fast forward and not enough time is spent on developing character motivations. This bleeds into the world building as exposition is dumped suddenly and conflicts are often resolved quickly after being introduced. The Academy acts as a base of operations. Players have the option to upgrade their potions and equipment, view conversation between characters, or rest party members. Many of the sudden exposition dumps come during these chats. Key aspects of the characters' backstories are just casually tossed out as if they were talking about the weather. This doesn't add much to the team building aspect, but does add to the fast-forward nature of the storytelling. Resting party members doesn't cost money, but being unable to field a team due to too many characters snoozing and therefore skipping the week does. Resting is important to replenish energy because running out causes debilitating attribute drops. Skipping a week leads to a character mentioning that they're doing some sort of inane activity that costs them a random amount of currency and pushes time ahead. Time, however, is a rather fruitless concept in Blade Prince Academy, as the only reason that a time limit is imposed is to keep track of parties. A party occurs every 2 months roughly, and if a character doesn't use energy to plan for it, a poor outing then creates a large decrease in relationship with one another. Decreases don't affect the characters in any way, and in fact after 3 negative drops it only took one prepared school party to have the entire team friendly with one another. It's difficult to connect to the Blade Princes, since every character's story is very minor, being brought up and concluded in a short time, usually soon after recruitment. Sometimes these threads do last longer, but they often rehash aspects that are already known and leave no real staying power. Even on the longer story sections, there's little building on the narrative, just a general feeling of the moment. Blade Prince Academy's combat plays out in real time, moving quickly to ensure that players utilize the pause function so the next move can be planned out. Moves have to be considered carefully, as there's no backing out after it's been selected, and careless use of some abilities will lead to character deaths. Friendly fire is very much a concern. Anyone blundering into the range and effect will be hit, friend or foe. Health and mana points recover automatically on a slow timer, which can be accelerated with potions. Potions are dropped by enemies or bought from the school, but run out quickly if the players aren't careful. Medkits are always available and can be used post-battle to revive any fallen party members. Full team knockouts result in experience loss and causes time to move forward a week. There are 11 different characters to be recruited, with up to 4 able to be deployed at any one time. The game takes players through 4 biomes, each containing at least 8 quests, most of which require at least one specific member to be used. Juggling every character in Blade Prince Academy is a necessity due to these restrictions. Luckily, most of the characters are unique, with only a few skills overlapping, and combine with one another in ways that make mixing and matching fun to do. Using the same teams can be useful when building relationships, as the higher the bond, the higher the attribute boost when used together. Each of the 7 skills that the Blade Princes can learn has a secondary function that only unlocks when specific conditions are met. For example, when an enemy is taunted by one of several tanks in the party, then Phoebe's Burning Chains ability also incorporates a new skill called Fire Nova for additional AoE damage. While every skill, offensive and defensive, has a combo ability, there is a limited number of combinations. Some are easier to pull off than others, and figuring out which partners to work best together is always a fun balancing act. Pausing offers the important thinking time needed to set up these combos. Combat can get frustrating as a lot of moving parts are being juggled. Enemies are relentless and everything is fast. Allies do a basic auto attack when within range of an enemy, but everything else relies on player input. It's easy to lose track and end up with characters standing still after an enemy is defeated or lingering in an acid pit taking damage. Melee attackers also won't close the distance to any ranged attackers until moved there by the player. With the urgency entirely on the player's end, it makes pausing more important to make sure that powerful attacks are avoided and characters aren't sitting there taking unnecessary damage. The game at least auto-pauses when a character reaches low life, while potions can be used in the pause screen. Playing defensively is just as important as being offensive, as proper movement when waiting for cooldowns can mean the difference between survival and losing the quest. One way to try and power up regular attacks is through packs, equipment found in treasure chests that can be applied to anyone for attribute boost or passive effects such as extra projectiles or expanded area effects. Packs also have their issues. Each biome has its own set packs that can be found in treasure chests. These treasure chests provide a choice of 4 different packs that can only be taken by a character with an open slot available. Removing packs costs money back at the academy, so choosing only useful packs is important. This is frustrating when random chance makes a better pack appear and no one can equip it, in which case it is discarded for minimal funds. Packs can be enchanted to prolong their usefulness, but this can only happen once and it costs extra money to swap out enchantments options beyond the first 2 available. If a character has space for more packs they can stack up, this ends with specialized party members hunting for specific gear while traversing dungeons. Since biomes have specific packs available, some characters go for a while without obtaining an upgrade. For example, the first biome is the only one with natural armor bonus. Enchantments give a smaller attribute boost than packs normally have, which leads to searching for duplicates to boost numbers rather than relying on what's currently available. Since players are backtracking to do this, there's minimal experience gained, which means players have to hope for random chance to give the correct pack for the experience to be worthwhile. Luckily, rerunning quests is quickly completed as it only takes a few minutes. Character portraits feature line work that makes them pop out in an eye-catching manner. In-game sprites don't have the same attention given to them, but are serviceable and visually work in tandem with their portraits. Basic enemies rarely change outside of the beginning of the new biome, making them feel repetitive outside of boss encounters. Bosses stand out a bit more since they have their portraits to help illuminate them. While there are different tracks for each biome, they are noticeably short, repeat after a short length of time, and truly don't get a chance to stand out. The sound design doesn't get in the way of the frantic combat either, but like the soundtrack, feel pushed aside in order to focus on the gameplay. There's a lot of little pieces that work in Blade Prince Academy, mostly on the combat side. Characters have snappy designs, but the fast-forward plot makes their personalities feel stilted. The game is ultimately a passable, but not fully realized, experience, with the novel gameplay the only element that really stands out. It is likely worth a look for those with whom the style resonates. Just be prepared for fast thinking or copious use of the pause button. This review is based on a free copy of the game provided by the publisher. RPGamer gives Blade Prince Academy a 2.5 out of 5. For more details, hit up the link in the description below. For more video content, subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Twitch for daily streams of your favorite RPGs. Join on the discussion at rpgamer.com/discord. And for the latest in RPG news, head over to rpgamer.com.